There comes a moment in life when you must stop waiting for the perfect time, the perfect opportunity, or the perfect version of yourself. That moment is right now, because the truth is this: the way you show up determines the way life shows up for you. If you step forward timidly, holding back, waiting for someone to validate your worth, you'll always remain stuck. But if you act as if you are unstoppable, if you walk with the energy of someone who refuses to be defeated, the world has no choice but to respond in kind. The mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality when you feed it with enough belief, emotion, and action. When you carry yourself like someone unstoppable, you condition your nervous system, your body, and your destiny to align with that version of yourself. This isn't about arrogance, this is about certainty. Certainty that you can rise above, push through, and achieve whatever you've set your heart on. Unstoppable isn't a feeling, it's a decision. Every morning when you wake up, you either decide to carry the weight of fear, doubt, and excuses, or you decide to move with the posture, breath, and spirit of someone who cannot be broken. The question isn't whether you have what it takes. The question is whether you're willing to step into it fully, as if nothing could stop you. Because when you do, life begins to expand in ways you never imagined. Every single day, before you take any action, before you make any decision, before you step into the challenges of the world, there is something you must master: the ability to shift your state. Because nothing shapes your reality faster than the state you choose to live in. When you are in a state of fear, hesitation, or doubt, you shrink, you hold back, you second, guess yourself. But when you are in a state of power, energy, and certainty, you step forward with conviction. You don't wait for permission, you move as if the outcome is already yours. Think about it. Your entire life is dictated not by what happens to you, but by how you respond. And how you respond is a reflection of the state you're in at that moment. If you're exhausted, if your shoulders are slumped, if your breath is shallow, you're going to make weak decisions, you'll procrastinate, you'll retreat. But if you stand tall, breathe deeply, and ignite your energy, you'll find yourself taking actions you once thought were impossible. It's not that the challenges disappear, it's that you show up differently. Energy is contagious. Walk into a room with low energy and people will mirror it. Walk into a room with fire in your eyes, strength in your posture, and confidence in your voice, and the world leans in. That's the power of shifting your state before you step. You prime yourself for success before you even begin. This is how unstoppable people move. They don't wait to feel good to act. They create the state that makes action inevitable. Your physiology is the first lever. How you use your body determines the message your brain receives. Stand slouched with your head down, and your nervous system starts sending signals of defeat. But stand tall, chest open, shoulders back, and your brain reads those signals as strength and certainty. It's like flipping a switch inside of you, and that switch has the power to transform hesitation into courage in an instant. Your breath is the second lever. Shallow breathing is the language of fear. Deep, powerful, rhythmic breathing is the language of control. When you shift your breath, you shift your emotions. In just a few seconds, you can change from anxious to calm, from scattered to focused, from tired to energized. This isn't magic, it's mastery of the most basic yet overlooked power you already possess. Then there's focus. Where focus goes, energy flows. If you focus on what might go wrong, your state collapses, you hesitate. But if you direct your focus toward possibility, toward what's within your control, toward the vision of who you're becoming, your energy rises. Focus is fuel, and the state you choose is the fire it ignites. When you combine physiology, breath, and focus, you create an unstoppable state on demand. Imagine waking up in the morning, and instead of stumbling into the day half asleep, you prime yourself. You put your body in motion, you breathe with power, and you lock your focus on the vision that drives you. How would your day unfold if you started it in that state? Every conversation, every decision, every challenge would be met with power instead of passivity. This is why it's not enough to have goals, dreams, or strategies, because strategy without state is useless. You can have the perfect plan, but if you're in a weak state, you won't execute it. On the other hand, even if your plan isn't perfect, when you're in a powerful state, you'll create opportunities, you'll adjust, you'll find solutions. State always beats circumstance. The truth is, We've all had moments when we didn't feel ready, but we shifted something inside and suddenly became unstoppable. Maybe it was walking into a job interview. Maybe it was stepping onto a stage. Maybe it was having that difficult conversation you'd been avoiding. What changed wasn't the world, it was you. You stepped into a state of certainty, and certainty commands results. If you want to live unstoppable, you can't rely on chance. You must train yourself to shift your state intentionally. Make it a ritual. Before you pick up the phone, before you walk into a meeting, before you face a challenge, prime your state. Move your body. Breathe with power, focus your mind, step into it as if you already own the outcome. Think about professional athletes. Before they perform, they don't just casually walk onto the field, they pump themselves up. They move, they shout, they breathe, they focus. Why? Because they know state determines performance, and if it's true for them, it's true for you. You're an athlete in the game of life, and your performance depends on the state you choose. The beauty is you don't need to wait for motivation to arrive. Motivation is fickle, it comes and goes, but state is within your control. You can create it right now in this moment. All it takes is a decision to change your body, your breath, and your focus. Do that, and you'll discover that the unstoppable version of you is never far away. It's always waiting to be summoned. When you master your state, you no longer get tossed around by circumstances. You become the cause, not the effect. Instead of reacting to the world, you dictate how you will show up in the world. And when you do that consistently, people notice. Opportunities open, doors unlock, not because the world suddenly became easier, but because you showed up as the unstoppable force that creates its own momentum. So the challenge is this: don't step into your day in a passive state. Don't wait for life to decide how you'll feel. You decide, you take control. You shift your state before you step, because the way you show up in the first moment determines everything that follows. And if you choose the state of strength, power, and certainty, then you choose to be unstoppable in every sense of the word. Every human being is living inside a story. It's not the events of your life that determine who you are. It's the meaning you've attached to them, the narrative you've been repeating to yourself for years. That story has been shaping your decisions, your actions, your relationships, your results. The problem is, most people never stop to question if the story they've been living is even true. They accept it as reality, when in fact it's just a script that can be rewritten. Your story is the lens through which you experience everything. If the story you tell yourself is "I'm not enough," then every challenge will feel overwhelming, every failure will feel permanent, and every opportunity will feel out of reach. But if the story you tell yourself is "I am unstoppable," then challenges become training grounds, failure becomes feedback, and opportunities become inevitable victories. The same world, the same circumstances, but two completely different lives, all based on the story you choose to believe. Stories are powerful because they create identity, and identity is the most powerful force in human behavior. You will fight tooth and nail to remain consistent with the identity you believe is yours. If you tell yourself "I'm shy, I'm weak, I'm unlucky," then you'll act in ways that reinforce that identity. But if you decide that your identity is "I am strong, I am resourceful, I am unstoppable," your actions shift. Your standards rise. Your life changes, not because the world is different, but because you are showing up with a new narrative. The stories we carry often come from the past. A parent who said you weren't good enough. A teacher who underestimated you. A moment when you failed and decided it defined you. But here's the truth. Your past does not equal your future unless you choose to keep living in that old story. You can rewrite the script. You can decide that those moments weren't chains holding you back, but stepping stones building your strength. The story you attach to your past will determine the future you create. If you look at people who have transformed their lives, you'll see they didn't do it because life suddenly became easy. They did it because they rewrote their story. They stopped saying "I'm a victim" and started saying "I'm a creator." They stopped saying "I can't" and started saying "I must." They stopped saying "I'm broken" and started saying "I'm unstoppable." The shift in language created a shift in belief, and that belief created a shift in destiny. Think about your own life. What story have you been repeating to yourself that no longer serves you? Maybe it's the story that you're not smart enough, not talented enough, not worthy of success. Maybe it's the story that you always fail, that you're cursed with bad luck, that things never go your way. These are not facts, they are stories, and the moment you recognize them as stories, you reclaim the power to change them. Rewriting your story begins with awareness. You must catch yourself in the act of repeating the old script. Notice the words you use when you talk about yourself. Notice the patterns of thought that rise when you face a challenge. Every time you hear that old voice saying, "I can't," stop and ask, is this the truth, or is this just the story I've been telling? Awareness is the first step to freedom. The second step is to replace the old story with a new one. This doesn't mean lying to yourself. It means choosing a story that empowers you instead of one that weakens you. Instead of "I always fail," you decide "every failure makes me stronger." Instead of "I don't deserve success," you say "I was born to create, to contribute, to succeed." Instead of "I'm stuck," you declare "I'm just getting started." Language matters because language shapes belief, and belief shapes action. The third step is to reinforce your new story with action. Words alone won't rewrite your identity. You must prove it to yourself through consistent behavior. If your new story is "I am unstoppable," then you must act as if you are unstoppable. You take bold steps, you face your fears, you do the thing you've been avoiding. Every action becomes evidence, and the more evidence you gather, the stronger your new story becomes. Over time, your brain rewires itself to align with the new identity. The old story begins to fade, and the new story becomes your reality. You wake up no longer carrying the weight of the past, but fueled by the possibility of the future. And when that happens, your entire world shifts. You don't just change what you do, you change who you are. Understand this: people don't fail because they lack resources. They fail because they're trapped in a disempowering story. They could have the skills, the opportunities, the talent, but if their story says "I can't," they won't. Meanwhile, someone with fewer resources but a stronger story will rise because they believe they must. That is the power of story. It trumps resources, circumstances, and even raw talent. If you want to live unstoppable, you must become the author of your own story. Stop letting other people's opinions write your script. Stop letting your past dictate your narrative. Take the pen back, write the story of who you truly are, and then live it with everything you've got. Because the story you tell yourself is not just words, it's the blueprint of your destiny. Every time you catch yourself shrinking, every time you hear that voice of doubt, remind yourself, that's the old story. That's not me anymore. I am writing a new chapter. I am stepping into a new identity. I am acting as if I am unstoppable. And when you do that consistently, the story no longer feels like something you're forcing. It becomes who you are. So here's the invitation. Stop waiting for your story to change on its own. Stop hoping that one day life will hand you a new script. Decide right now to rewrite it. Decide that the old story ends today. Decide that from this moment forward, you will tell yourself the story of strength, certainty, and resilience. Because once you change your story, you change your life, and once you change your life, there's nothing left that can stop you. There is a secret that separates those who live average lives from those who live extraordinary ones. It's not luck, it's not talent, it's not even timing. The secret is the willingness to take action as if success is already guaranteed. Most people hesitate, second, guess, or wait until they feel ready. But unstoppable people act with the certainty that their actions will create results, even when the outcome is not visible yet. That certainty fuels bold moves, and bold moves create breakthroughs. Think about how most people approach their dreams. They dip their toes in the water, they make half-hearted attempts. They say, "I'll try this and see if it works." But try is a word soaked in doubt. It's an escape hatch for failure. When you act as if success is inevitable, you don't try, you commit. You burn the boats, you take the leap with no plan of retreat. That kind of action carries an energy that changes everything. Confidence is not something you wait for before acting. Confidence is the result of action. The moment you take the first step, The moment you move forward despite uncertainty, you create evidence for yourself. And with every piece of evidence, your belief grows stronger. The problem is most people wait for belief before acting, not realizing that belief is built by doing. If you want unstoppable confidence, you must act as if success is already yours. Imagine walking into every situation with the energy that says, "This is done." Success is not a question. It's a matter of time. How differently would you show up? How differently would people respond to you? That energy magnetizes opportunities. It influences people to believe in you. It shifts circumstances in your favor because you carry the conviction that success is inevitable. The world mirrors the certainty you bring to it, but let's be clear, acting as if success is inevitable does not mean ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It means you move forward with such conviction that setbacks don't derail you. Failures become stepping stones, obstacles become fuel. You interpret every challenge as part of the process instead of a sign to stop. That mindset keeps you moving, and motion creates momentum. Momentum is everything. Once you start moving with conviction, life opens doors you couldn't see from the starting line. Resources appear, people show up, ideas flow. It's as if the universe bends in favor of those who refuse to stop. But none of that happens until you act. You cannot think your way into momentum. You must move, and when you move as if success is inevitable, you create unstoppable momentum. Action also silences fear. Fear feeds on hesitation. The longer you wait, the louder fear becomes. But when you step forward boldly, fear has no room to grow. You train your nervous system to associate action with progress instead of paralysis. Every time you do what you fear, you shrink fear's power and expand your own. That's why unstoppable people seem fearless. They're not without fear, they simply act as if success is certain, and fear loses its grip on them. When you act as if success is inevitable, you stop playing small. You stop bargaining with your potential. You stop settling for good enough because you know greatness is not only possible, it's waiting for you. That mindset drives you to take bigger risks, to push beyond comfort zones, to demand more from yourself and the world around you. And that's where transformation happens, not in comfort, but in courageous, committed action. There will always be people who doubt you. There will always be voices saying, "What if it doesn't work?" But those voices don't matter when your inner voice says it's already done. You don't need the world to believe in you. You need to believe in you. And belief is proven through action. Every time you move forward, you are casting a vote for the version of you that is unstoppable, and eventually that version becomes who you are. The key is consistency. One bold action is not enough. You must stack action upon action, day after day, until success is not just possible. It's inevitable. Each step compounds, each effort builds, each move strengthens the momentum that makes quitting unthinkable. Success isn't a single event. It's the cumulative result of relentless, committed action taken with the belief that the outcome is guaranteed. Even when the results don't show up immediately, you keep moving. Why? Because when success is inevitable, time is irrelevant. You no longer obsess over how long it will take. You trust the process. You trust your resilience. You trust your ability to adapt, learn, and grow. That patience mixed with persistence is unstoppable. It's the formula that turns impossible dreams into undeniable reality. And here's the paradox. When you act as if success is inevitable, people assume you already have it. They sense it in your energy, your posture, your decisions. You become magnetic to opportunities because you're not desperate. You're certain. You're not begging for things to work out. You're walking as if they already have. That kind of presence shifts how the world interacts with you because the world responds to certainty. So the challenge is this: stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop holding back because you're not sure of the outcome. Stop living in hesitation because hesitation is the enemy of greatness. Start acting as if success is inevitable. Pick up the phone, launch the project, have the conversation, take the leap, move boldly, and let the results catch up with your certainty. Because the truth is this: success belongs to those who claim it, not those who wait for it. And when you act as if success is inevitable, you stop being one of the many who wonder what if. and become one of the few who live what is. You step into a life where obstacles don't stop you, fear doesn't control you, and doubt doesn't define you. You step into the life of someone truly unstoppable.